Herkese merhabalar. Connect UK World Class University Webinar serimize hoş geldiniz. Bugün çok değerli İngiltere üniversitelerinden bir diğeri University of York yetkilimiz Sam Thorpe'la birlikteyiz. Ben çok kısa sunumumuza geçmeden önce Web'den Birleşik Education Bureau'dan bahsetmek istiyorum. Ardından sözü yetkilimize bırakacağım. Son kısımda da sizden gelen soruları yanıtlıyor olacağız. Ben İmran Mehmet bu arada. Eğitim uzmanı olarak Birleşik Education Bureau'da çalışıyorum. Şöyle Birleşik Education Bureau'dan başlayalım. Biz York Üniversitesi'nin Türkiye'deki resmi temsilcisi olan bir kuruluşuz. Temsil ettiğimiz üniversitelerin Türkiye'deki tanıtımlarına destek sağlıyoruz. Aynı zamanda Türkiye'deki organizasyonlarını gerçekleştiren kuruluşuz Birleşik Krallık Üniversitelerini. 2002 yılında Oxford'da kurulduk. İngiliz ve Türk kuruculara sahip bir yapımız mevcut. 20 yıldır, 2002 yılından beri İstanbul, Ankara, İzmir'deki ofislerimizde öğrencilerimize hizmet sağlıyoruz. Uzmanlık alanımız tamamen Birleşik Krallık eğitim sistemi. Bu 4 ülkedeki İngiltere, İskoçya, Galler ve Kuzey İrlanda'daki üniversitelerin giriş şartları, başvuru aşaması gibi süreçlerdir. Tüm danışmanlık kadromuz İngiliz eğitim sistemine hakim. Bu konuda sürekli olarak eğitimler alan bir yapıya sahiptir. Birleşik Krallık'ta toplam 130 tane devlet üniversitesi vardır. Biz bunların web olarak 90'ının resmi temsilciliğini yapıyoruz. Yani onların Türkiye'deki ofisleri gibi düşünebilirsiniz. Resmi temsilciliğini yaptığımız üniversiteler için de tamamen ücretsiz öğrencilerimize destek sağlıyoruz. Bizleri bir sonraki webinarlarımız için web sayfamızdan, Instagram sayfamızdan ve Facebook sayfamızdan takip edebilirsiniz. Aynı zamanda buradaki numaralardan 4 tane ofisimiz için de iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Ben sözü yetkilimiz, University of York yetkilimiz Sam Thorpe'a bırakıyorum. Sunum sırasında sorularınızı chat box'tan veya el butonuyla sözlü olarak sorabilirsiniz. It's yours now, Sam. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Imran, and hi everybody. I'm just going to share my screen with you. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so you should now be able to see the presentation. Yeah. You can see that, Imran?
Yeah, we can.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming, taking the time out to listen. My name's Sam, and I'm a regional manager here at the University of York. So I've been working in higher education for 5 years now, helping students across the Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey find the right university for them. I used to work at NTU, and I've been at the University of York for the past 3 years now. So today, what I want to share with you are some quick facts about the university, and that includes things like rankings, achievements and awards, student population, that type of thing. But I also want to focus too on the student lifestyle. What's it like to be a student on the University of York campus and living in the city of York as well? So we'll explore city life as well as campus life. And then I'm going to show you our courses and entry requirements, explain a bit about our fees and scholarships and how you can go about applying to the university. Okay, so feel free to type your questions in. We'll take questions at the end, and I'll begin now. So, a brief overview of the University of York. We are a Russell Group university, and in case you don't know what that means, the Russell Group is a collection of the most prestigious universities in the UK. So having a Russell Group brand on your degree certificate holds a lot of weight, and employers around the world will recognize it. And that's partly because we do a lot of research which impacts industries and personal lives around the world. So being a Russell Group university, we tend to be highly ranked, and York is. On average, we're about 18th in the UK at the moment. So 18th according to the Complete University Guide's latest ranking system. And we've got 11 subjects in the UK top 10. So as well as looking at the overall ranking, it's a really good idea to look at the subject rankings too. And 11 of our subjects are in the top 10 across both the Guardian and the Times higher education ranking systems, which are very popular in the UK. We're a medium-sized university, so we're home to about 20,000 students, and they live on a big, beautiful campus which covers 500 acres of really stunning parkland. That campus is within walking distance to the city centre, and York as a city has been voted the best place to live in the UK on a number of occasions by the Times, who also do the higher education rankings, and again today, in fact, by a government poll just taken. York was one of the most popular, well, the most popular, it was number one, the most popular city. So it's a really nice place to live and study. 27% of our students are actually international, and they come from more than 150 different countries around the world. So we've got a very diverse community of students. In terms of employer rates, so 94% of our graduates are in employment or further studies within 6 months of graduating, proving that our degrees work. And I'll talk a bit more about support from our careers team later. And finally, for those of you in need of some financial help, which is completely understandable, there are about 100 scholarship awards that you can apply for at York, ranging from anywhere between £2,000 up to £20,000 for undergraduate students. Okay, so that's pretty much a quick snapshot of York. Now, we're going to move on to a couple of other things. First of all, this year, we've been nominated as University of the Year. That's a really big achievement in the UK. It's kind of like the Oscars of the higher education world. And we've been nominated as University of the Year, partly because of the outstanding support that we've provided to students throughout COVID. So often we were the first Russell Group university to act when it came to things like paying for your hotel accommodation if you were coming from a red list country, that type of thing. Okay. I'm going to move on now to the campus life. And we're going to start with the location. So many of you may have heard that York is in the north of England, but if you're looking at the map of the UK, that actually places us in the centre of the UK. And that's great because we're really well connected to all of these other major cities. Leeds would be 20 minutes away. That's our nearest industrial city. York is a tourist destination. It is a city, but it's a tourist city. So Manchester is the nearest major international airport, and there's loads of Turkish Airlines flights going into Manchester. There's also a train from within the airport itself that takes you into York, so it's really easy. And then for those of you that want to visit London, highly recommend that you do, although of course it's quite expensive to live there full time. The train to London takes just 1 hour 50 minutes if you get the fast train, which has 0 stops before it gets to London. So it's really nicely located. If you zoom in on that map a bit and you have a look at York, you can see it's a circular shaped city. The red outline is the outline of the city. And this little place here, where I've got my mouse hovering now, that's Heslington. That's where the campus is. And it's built around these 2 lovely big lakes that you can see. And just to give you some perspective on how close that is to the city centre, there's my old house, and I would walk into the campus and home every day. So that's how close it is. It may look a distance on the map, but it's very, very conveniently located. When you get to the campus, this is what it looks like. So this is Campus East. This is the newer part of the campus. The building that you're looking at is the Roncook Hub. It looks out onto the gorgeous Yorkshire countryside, and behind that you've got the main road into the city. And just to give you a bit of idea about some of the facilities, these pods here that are floating on the water, these are specifically for students. So if you wanted to do a group project and work on a group presentation, for example, you would hire these out and work in here. And that's how nice it is a place to be. And over the other side of the campus, the West Campus, this is what it looks like. Much the same, lots of nature and wildlife. So you're surrounded by it where you're living and studying. And you've got everything that you need on your doorstep. So we've got supermarkets, we've got doctors, we've got lots of different canteens, social areas, bars, 2 big sports centres, 24-hour security, all of that on your doorstep. So it's a lovely place to live and study. And when you do live here, what you'll do is you'll become a member of one of 10 colleges. So we have a college-based system because it breaks our big student community down into a much smaller student sizes. And that means it's much more manageable, and we're able to make sure that you're happy and give you the support that you need. Now, it's not common to find a UK university with a college-based system. So this is quite unique. And the colleges offer you lots of different social activities throughout the year, including your welcome week orientation around the city, that type of thing. But it also offers you mentors. So as a new undergraduate student, you'll be young, maybe not so familiar with the UK culture, and you've got mentors to go to who have been there for a while to offer you help and advice. And also, if you start to feel quite homesick, maybe the workload's getting too much, or your mental health isn't great, then you can go to your college leader and they will point you in the right direction to get the best kind of help. So it's a great way of keeping our students happy. And I'm going to show you a video on the college life, just because we find our students need a bit more information on what that is. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen before I do, because I think I need to include the audio. So bear with me 1 second whilst I do that. There we go, that should be included now.
Choosing York doesn't just mean studying here, it also means becoming a part of a friendly, inclusive and diverse community. York accommodation is based around our colleges, including Wentworth, our dedicated postgraduate college. You'll be a member of your college throughout your time at York, offering you much more than just somewhere to live. You'll become part of a vibrant college community, and there's help on hand if you need it. Staff in colleges can be your first point of contact if you need any extra support, and all undergraduates are paired up with a third or second year student contact to help them settle in. All our accommodation is close to everything on campus, meaning not only is uni life on your doorstep, but you're surrounded by everything you need, from green spaces and catering facilities to study spaces in the library. It's also easy to travel across campus, whether you choose to walk, catch the free shuttle bus, use one of the campus e-scooters or cycle, and all our accommodation has plenty of cycle storage. We make sure your stay here is safe, secure and hassle-free. We provide a dedicated team to manage your stay and help to assist with everyday issues such as maintenance. Some of the other perks of choosing to stay with us include free Wi-Fi and wired internet to every room, 24/7 security, contents insurance and regular cleaning. With all our accommodation, bills are included, making it easier to keep track of your finances. The cost of rooms varies to suit people's budgets, and you can choose from a variety of rooms, let lengths, and whether you would like meals to be included. Whether we're your firm or insurance choice, you're guaranteed an offer of a room in accommodation owned, managed, or approved by the university if you apply for accommodation by the deadline. There's a real sense of community in our colleges, and we hope you feel at home from day one.
There we go. So that gives you a bit of perspective on what a college is. And now I want to give you an example of a college accommodation. So it used to be that students would come to the campus often to explore and look at the rooms, things like that, and compare universities to each other. But of course, that rarely happens anymore because of COVID. So I'm going to show you what a virtual room tour looks like. So we're going to browse by college. Okay, and when you browse by college, you'll be able to see all the different pricings and all the colleges available. But then if you click on one, you can look at the room options. Now, there's always an ensuite option and then a shared option. And when we say shared, we don't mean a shared bedroom. We don't do that in the UK like they sometimes do in the US. We mean a shared bathroom. Okay, so we can do a virtual tour of either. I'm going to show you one with an ensuite shower room. But you can do this for each and every college. So when you're looking at your options, take some time to have a look through them all and see which you prefer. This is a pretty standard university room, which is why I'm showing you this one. It's average, really. So you can take a tour of the room. You can have a look at the bathroom. All of the university bathrooms are pretty much small like this, small shower rooms. That's just normal in the UK. The bigger ones are for people who need wheelchair access and things like that. And then you can explore the entire building as well, go through the corridors. And what I'm going to show you now is where students would hang out on an evening, where they're having dinner with all of the other students on their dorm. So here it is. So this is the shared kitchen. You've got plenty of cupboard space, 2 cookers, lots of fridge freezer space, and this will be cleaned once a week by the cleaners. So this is your average university room, okay? And let's say you were looking at a room, you're studying law, but you want to know, well, hang on, where is my room in comparison to where I'm going to be learning? Is it a long walk or is it really close? Well, you can have a look on the virtual campus map. Let's say you were studying law, because that seems to be a popular subject in Turkey. You could find out where the law school is, zoom in and see, okay, Anne Lister, Langworth College and Constantine would all be good options, but maybe something like St. James would not, because it's right over the other side of the campus, okay? So have a look for yourselves if you're interested in accommodation. And on accommodation, we've actually got some brand new accommodation being built, because York has grown more popular with students, both in Turkey and in lots of other countries around the world as well. So to accommodate those students that are now coming, we're having to build 2 new colleges. That's the Anne Lister College and the David Cato College. So have a look at those 2, because they're brand new, really nice rooms. This is what they look like, or the designs even, and they're being built now, and they'll be ready for September next year for when you guys enroll. A few other things that I want to talk about in relation to the campus lifestyle, that is the student societies, because obviously you're going to have classes, you'll be busy with classes, but especially in your first year of a UK bachelor's degree, that's when you've got more time to invest in your social activities. Okay, so there's lots of things you can do, and there's student societies set up for the arts, for politics, for sport, all kinds of interests. And this first one I'm going to tell you about is the student radio station called URI. It's the first ever legal independent radio station to be launched in the UK, and its first DJ was somebody called John Peel. John Peel is one of the most famous music icons to come out of British music, especially as far as DJs go. And these won the Best Student Radio Award last year. So you can get involved in that no matter what you're studying. Another exciting one to get involved in is the TV channel, which actively broadcasts. So you can be a camera person, a presenter, a producer, a writer, all of that without having to study theatre, film and television. If you're a musician, then you can benefit from free music masterclasses, and they're for various different types of instruments, also vocals, and you can hire rehearsal space too. Also, our music students do get tasked with teaching people, so you can get free ongoing music classes from our students. If you want to expand on your language skills, you can take up an additional language. You can do that for free if it's credit bearing. So you have to choose for it to be a credit bearing option, which adds 20 credits to your degree. But of course, if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that you work hard at it and you do pass. So be serious about it, because you don't want a failed module on your certificate. So we teach lots of European languages, including further afield languages like Chinese and old languages like Latin as well. There's lots of dance groups you can get involved in: tap, ballet, jazz, modern, some taught by professional dancers, some by more experienced students. And there's 2 big sports centres on campus, one for indoor sports, one for outdoor sports. So the indoor sports facilities are fantastic. They're brand new. You've got a big Olympic-sized swimming pool, steam room, jacuzzi, sauna, gyms, personal trainers, all of that. And then there's the outdoor facilities with all of the track and field equipment that you could want as well. But if you're feeling a bit lazy, you want to hang out and socialize with your friends, but not be too active, you could always just drop in on one of our student cinema nights. So we've got blockbuster hits, we've got interesting documentaries, we've got cult movies, all of those showing 3 times a week on campus. So that's a bit about the campus lifestyle. Just to go over those main points, within walking distance to the city centre, it's a 500-acre parkland campus offering stunning views. You'll be surrounded by nature and wildlife. There's 10 colleges to choose from, which offer you social activities throughout the year and student support. There's over 200 student societies to choose from and 2 state-of-the-art sports centres, all on campus. Now we're going to have a look at the city lifestyle. So to get to the city, I have mentioned that you can walk, but if you're on the furthest part from the campus, maybe that's too much for your legs. So you might decide either to get a bicycle or to pick up one of these electric scooters that we've got dotted all across the campus. Swipe your phone across the top after you've downloaded the app. You can take it about campus for free, or you can take it into the city centre for as little as 75 pence. So it's a really fun and sustainable green way of travelling. When you get to the city centre, you will see gates like this. So York is an old medieval city. It's one of the oldest cities in the country. It predates the Vikings, and a lot of its architecture in the city is protected. Its architecture and the history and the stories that come with that are part of what makes it a really big European tourist destination. So we attract about 7 million tourists to our city centre each year. And as you pass through these gates, you'll see streets like this. This is an area called the Shambles. So it does look like you're walking around in a Harry Potter book. It's very much like that. And as you wander through these old cobbled lanes, you'll hear lots of live music. You'll see different kinds of street performers, and you'll smell lots of different aromas from the international bars, cafes, and restaurants as well, because there's plenty of those. In fact, the street behind this one is just full of independently owned international restaurants and bars. So it's really cool. And then there's an area within the city as well that students love. It was set up by a York graduate called Spark. This is an area in the city boarded off, and it's lots of big steel containers stacked on top of each other with different independent businesses running in them. So as a fresh graduate, if you wanted to start up a business, but you didn't have that much money, you could start up here, get it financially going, and then take it into a city centre accommodation. It's got a great nightlife too, with more bars than there are days of the year. And it's all close together, which is really nice, because in some of those bigger cities, when you're traveling from one night venue to the next, obviously you've got to be very careful for your safety. The good thing about York is that it is the safest university city in the country, according to a survey completed by the Complete University Guide. So crimes likely to affect students happen least in York. And you can feel that. You can feel the difference when you're walking around York. You know, I've lived in lots of cities across the UK and in different countries too. And you can just sense when you're in a place that maybe you shouldn't have gone into, that type of thing. And I have never worried for my safety in York. So it's a lovely place, great nightlife. And then because it's a smaller city, I just want to share with you some of the surrounding areas. One of those being Whitby. York is about an hour from the seaside, the coast, and Whitby is like a seaside version of York. Lots of very old buildings there and history and exciting stories attached to it. It's one of the most famous UK seaside destinations, and this is where Captain Cook used to sail his whaler from. It's where Bram Stoker was inspired to write the novel Dracula because of this big old cathedral on the cliff edge. That's where Dracula's grave is supposed to be, and that attracts a lot of tourists. So they have special Gothic weekends, and if you come on one of those weekends, you'll see hundreds of people walking around dressed like this. So again, it's quite a unique, characterful place. York and its surrounding areas are beautiful, but they're not like a big cosmopolitan concrete city with big shiny skyscraper buildings. If you wanted that, you could jump on the train 20 minutes into Leeds, and those trains run back to the early hours of the morning too, so it's very convenient. So hopefully that gives you a sense of what York is like, both to live in and study in. Just to recap on those key points about the city, so we're a popular tourist destination, often voted the best place to live in the UK, not just by the Times, but also by the Gov polls that are run. The safest university city in the country. It's a beautiful city, and it's got things happening all year round. So lots of festivals and things for students to enjoy. Okay, so now I want to move on and talk a bit about the entry requirements, the courses, the scholarships, that type of thing. And the first thing we're going to do is look at our entry requirements. So I'm going to show you how to look for these on each individual course page. In fact, how to look for a course shortly. But I just want to give you an idea about what we will accept. Being a Russell Group university usually means that we have higher entry requirements than some of the lower ranked universities. So the courses that we normally advertise at are AAA to ABB. Okay, we don't usually ask for a C in anything, but that's using the UK A-level system. That's what we have in the UK, A-levels. So if we were to ask for the top grade of AAA in UK A-levels, what that means is 82% from your Turkish high school diploma. Now, there are some universities in the UK that might not accept the Turkish high school diploma. And there are other universities that will only accept the high school diploma from specific high schools. But we accept the high school diploma from most. As long as it's a recognized high school, then we do. So we accept 82% as the top mark overall, and we'll go as low as 74% for some courses. There are fewer courses available at this score, but some of them are. Sometimes what we'll say is, okay, for this course, we want 82% overall, but we also want the equivalent of an A in maths. And that might be true for something like computer science, where we ask for that. An A equals 85% in a particular subject in your final year, and a B equals 78% of a subject in your final year. Okay, so that's what it means. If you are an IB student, then we generally accept between 34 to 37 with a 6 in a specific subject if we require it. If you're doing APs, generally it's 544 to 555, where a 5 equals an A and a 4 equals a B. Okay. In terms of English language requirements, if you're studying the Turkish high school diploma, then you will need an English language test. And it used to be that IELTS was the main one, but since a lot of the IELTS test centres closed due to COVID, universities started to accept online tests as well. One of those online tests that we accept that became very popular, especially in Turkey, is Duolingo. And that became really popular because it's quick and easy to book, and it's also very inexpensive. So you're looking at $49 US to book it. So we do accept those, and it will say the Duolingo or the TOEFL or the IELTS requirement on each and every individual course page. It's important to check for your particular course because the English language requirements do vary. If you're studying a course like computer science, which is much more technical, the English language requirement may be lower. But if you're studying something like psychology, which is going to be really quite language based, then that's going to be a higher English language requirement. Okay. The English language certificates are valid for 2.5 years. That means if I take a test on the 1st of January, 2018, I can use that certificate to get into university 2.5 years from that date. But the course start date must be within that 2.5 years. That's how it works, okay? And sometimes, maybe if you take a test and you don't get the required score, let's say we're asking for the equivalent of IELTS 6.5, and you get the equivalent of IELTS 6. Well, that means that you can't come straight onto the course normally, but you can do a pre-sessional course that will top you up from 6 to 6.5. Just to let you know that this year, we are continuing to be a bit more flexible with the English language requirements. So if we ask for a 6.5 and you get a 6, we may still make you an offer. I'm going to talk now about those programs which I mentioned were in the UK top 10. So here is how the departments are organized in our university. What you can see across the top are faculties, so arts and humanities, sciences, and social sciences. And within those faculties, you've got academic departments, archaeology, history, chemistry, biology, health sciences, psychology. All of those are top 10 in the UK, the ones with stars next to them. But within those departments, you've got the actual courses. So within biology, we've got biology, genetics, biomedical science, ecology, those types of programs. So these are departments, okay? And now I'm going to show you how to look for a course within a department. So all you need to do is go to the home page of the website, really easy to find. And it's this dark blue box here. This is going to find you your course. All you have to do is type on it, type in which course you're interested in. Let's have a look at psychology. That seems to be popular too. And select undergraduate. Undergraduate is for a bachelor's degree. So if you hit search, it's going to show you all of the relevant courses for bachelor's degrees in psychology. Now, if we click on here, what we can see is, okay, it's giving me the stats. So we know that it's 8th in the country for psychology in The Guardian. It's 9th in the Times, 2nd for overall satisfaction, which is really good. But the important bits of information are here. So you've got a course overview, course content. This is really important, guys, because you can have a course called psychology in one university and a course called psychology in another university. So what differentiates them? Which one should you go for? Well, what you need to do is read the module content for each year. This is where the differences will lie. Some will teach different modules to others. Some may be accredited, some may not. Ours is. And you can click on each module and read about what that module aims are, the outcomes, and importantly, how it will be assessed. What you'll find is that because we're a younger Russell Group University, we tend to take a more modern approach to teaching and assessment. We apply a lot of what we call problem-based learning, which is teaching you in a way that you might be expected to work in industry, rather than just feeding you information and then asking you to spit that back out on a test paper. So in York, we do a lot of essays and courseworks, group presentations, that type of thing to assess you, rather than just focusing so much on exams. So you can have a look through how we'll assess you in each module and decide, well, actually, I'm not great at exams, but I'm really good at coursework. I think I'll do well here, or vice versa. Okay. Other things that you might want to look at on the course page are the careers. So it will tell you what type of careers our previous students have gone on to achieve. And then maybe you can have a look on YouTube. You can say, okay, well, what does a clinical psychologist do? Copy that, paste it into YouTube. What you'll see are probably some university lectures, and you'll also see people talking about a day in the life of a clinical psychologist. And importantly, routes to becoming a clinical psychologist, because it's not always as simple as just doing your degree and then becoming something. So have a look through those. Also have a look at the fees and funding. I'm going to talk more about the fees and funding in a moment, but what you'll notice is that there are two different pricings. Classroom-based courses are cheaper because the facilities are cheaper to upkeep, and lab-based courses like psychology, because we're working in laboratories, are more expensive. Okay, and then they've got the entry requirements on here as well. So you can see AAA because it's the top ranked program. Now, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, this is the last thing I'm going to show you on here, you can see contact details for people who you can ask questions to about the course. I highly encourage you to get in touch with these people if you've got questions. They're massively helpful. They want more international students from more diverse countries. So if you send somebody an email saying, I was wondering about this course, how exactly will this module be taught, or what exactly will I be able to do from it, they'd be happy to help you. Okay. So that's how you search for a course on the York website. In terms of applying for the courses, now because you're applying for an undergraduate program, all applications that we receive must come through something called UCAS. Now, BEB are experts in this. That's why we're partners with them. We've been partners with them for years. They've helped many, many students come to York. And when I was at Nottingham-Trent University, they helped us with many students going there too. They're experts in the application process. They know what needs to be done on the applications to get you an offer. So I would encourage you to go through BEB. Basically, what UCAS does is it takes one application from you and it sends it to 5 university choices. So you choose 5 universities to come to in the UK and you rank them in order of priority. Okay, that's why you don't mention a particular university on your UCAS application form, because it's going to 5 of them and you don't want to put them off. So you might talk about the modules that you're interested in and the careers that you want to go on to do, things like that, but not the specific university name. So complete your UCAS application by the specified deadlines. BEB know what the deadlines are. You can ask them, or you can go onto the UCAS website and you can look. One of the deadlines, I believe, is the 26th of January. That is the first deadline. It's called the Equal Consideration Deadline. All applications received before that deadline have to be treated equal to each other. Okay, if we receive an application after that deadline, well, then we don't really have to treat it the same. And that means that if we've got a limited number of seats left, well, then we can give it to the best student, not just those that meet the entry requirements. So please try and get your application in before that deadline. We'll want you to list your qualifications that you're studying and write a personal statement. And there's loads of really helpful information on how to write a good personal statement on the UCAS website and on YouTube as well, and obviously with BEB counsellors. So submit your application through UCAS with BEB by the deadline date, and then we will get back to you with what we call a conditional offer. And the conditional offer is basically, yes, you can come to York. We will give you a place so long as you do hit those target grades that we're talking about. Okay. I'm now going to talk a bit about the tuition fees and living costs in a bit more detail. So I mentioned that some courses are more expensive than others. Classroom-based courses, examples of these are things like business, law, any kind of social science, really, and lab-based courses would be chemistry, biology, psychology, physics. So classroom-based courses are £19,500 per academic year, which I fully appreciate is a lot of money. That is the fee for a Russell Group university. But you can help reduce that with scholarships, which I'll tell you about shortly. On top of your tuition fees, what you have to show is that you can pay your monthly living costs in order to get your visa. And the required living cost for you to get your visa outside of London, it's more expensive within London, but outside of London, you need to show that you've got £1,023 per month to live off. And that is plenty to live off in York. In York, you can get some nice accommodation on campus from as little as £99 per week with all of your bills included. You can pay a bit more if you want something more luxurious. And then in year two, what they tend to do is students often go into private housing. So because you'll have made friends in first year of accommodation, that group of friends might then go and look for something off campus where you've got an entire house together and you've each got a room and a shared kitchen and a living room. And that's quite common and that is affordable too. So with that amount of money, you should get by, and that will cover you for your rent, bills, travel, food, and leisure, as long as you don't live too extravagantly. Now, when you're a student in the UK, there are loads of discounts to benefit from. So for example, you can get a student rail card, and that rail card will discount 1/3 off every rail journey. And in the UK, rail journeys can be quite expensive. You've got to book ahead to get the cheap prices. You'll make that money back in 1 or 2 journeys, I would say. So it's well worth getting. The other thing worth getting is a student NUS card. And an NUS card will get you discounts at gyms, at clothes places, lots of the popular chain restaurants and bars. So you'll make that money back fairly quickly too. In terms of how you can pay your tuition fees, you can pay it across 3 installments. So the first installment is 50% of the total amount. The second installment is 25 and the following installment 25, and you pay per academic term. So there's 3 academic terms in the year. The first term starts in September and it will end in December in time for Christmas break. Okay, so that's how that works. I'm now going to move on to careers. I know this is a very busy slide. It's a lot to read, but I'll explain as best I can. So one other way that you can subsidize your living costs, although you do have to evidence that you've got your living costs to get your visa, but if you feel that you need more spending money, you can work whilst you're studying. And as a student, you can work up to 20 hours per week during term time, and then you can work full time during the holidays. And it would be very common for, say, a law student to go and do a full-time work placement in the holidays. In fact, it would be pretty much a requirement if they are expecting to go on to become either a solicitor or a barrister. And that would be true for some other courses too. So what you want to make sure of, if you are interested in working in the UK while studying, is that you apply to a university which has an excellent careers and placements department that can help you to do that. Because you're not from the UK, you've never applied for a job in the UK before, you don't know what employers are looking for because you're still an undergraduate student, so you need help. And some academic departments, like law, have someone specific within that department to help you find those placements, specifically for the law industry. But if you're not studying one of those subjects and you want something more general, then you can go to the careers and placements department, and they've got a program like this that runs alongside your course for each year of your degree, so that when you come to graduate, you are ready to go and find jobs. You know how to market yourself in the job sector. Okay, and some of those things include, like these checklist items that you can see at the bottom. They include York's Strengths program, which helps you identify what your strengths are, write about them, put a CV together, practice job interviews, search for jobs in the UK, use the right websites to do that, learn about the minimum wage and things like that. It will help you with all of it. Okay, and just as an example, this year I took on 2 full-time interns with a colleague of mine. They were working within our international office with us, earning a full-time wage over the entire summer period, and we were setting them up with meetings with agents all across the world. We were giving them a great deal of responsibility. In fact, I believe they met with BEB as well, doing lots of agent research for us, which we were then able to use. And it was really great to be able to give students that type of experience, to be able to give them a reference to say that is what they've done, and just for the experience is fantastic. So that's the type of thing that you can benefit from at York. Whichever university you do choose, ask them about what careers and support they have available, especially now that we have the 2-year postgraduate visa, which means that as soon as you've graduated from your course, you can stay. You can stay in the UK and you can work full-time for that 2 years. But the best way to make the most of that is to know what jobs to look for and how to look for them. Okay. Finally, I'm going to wrap up with scholarships. So if you apply by the first UCAS deadline, 26th of January, then you should get an offer within the new year. In general, we have a quick turnaround time on undergraduate applications. And so if you apply and we make you an offer, you can then submit a scholarship application. The first scholarship window opens on the 10th of January and closes on the 21st of March. This is an important window for undergraduate students because you have another deadline in UCAS. That is your firm acceptance deadline. That means that you select your main choice. Now, you want to know if a university is going to offer you a scholarship before you have to say that you're definitely going to go to them. Okay, so submit your application in this window here. The application itself will be assessed in 2 parts. It's an online application. We will email you to tell you applications are now open because you'll be an offer holder. The first part will look at your score. So your academic grades, that is, and will generate an automatic score based on your predicted grades that you're applying with. The second part is that you'll answer maybe 3 personal statement style questions on the online form. And those questions will be about you. We want to learn who you are. And for those questions, you will get additional points. Then we take those with the highest points forward and we offer them a scholarship. The amount that you get offered will reflect the quality of your application compared to the competitors. So it could be anything between £2,000 to £20,000. If you get £20,000, that's more or less an entire year free of tuition fees. But the way that we will divide it up is that we will discount £10,000 from your first year, 5 from your second, and 5 from your third to make sure that you complete the course. Okay. So there's about 100 awards to give away in total, and there is application support available. So I am your country representative within the University of York. That means that if you want any advice about applying, you can come to me, you can book a meeting with me online, and I'll show you how to do that just at the end there. But if you want advice about the scholarship application, we can sit together, we can look through the application form, and we can discuss each question in turn. And I will help you identify some key points about yourself that will hopefully increase your chances of getting a scholarship. Okay, so more than happy to do that. Please make the most of it and get in touch if you want to. That pretty much brings me to the end, but just to finish up before we take questions, I'm going to show you how you might go about booking a meeting with me. Okay, and you can ask BEB to help you with this as well if you get stuck. But all you need to do from the homepage of the website is type Turkey into the search bar. If you type Turkey here, it'll come up with the country page. And as you go on to here, as you scroll down this section here, you can book an appointment with me. And there's usually 3 days of the week that I'm offering these types of appointments. So it will bring up the calendar if the internet wants to work now. And you'll be able to select a certain day of the week and a certain time like this. Okay, October's pretty much fully booked because we're getting to the end of it. But as you can see, through the future months, you can just click on one of these days and select an available time, and you'll have a half-hour meeting with me. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's all of the topics that I wanted to cover, but I'm more than happy to take some questions with you now.
Thank you very much, Sam, for the great presentation. And we are waiting for the questions. There is one question. Can we apply with only SAT scores? If we can, what's the acceptance percentage?
So if you're doing the American curriculum, we need either 3 APs or 3 SAT subjects, which I believe a lot of schools have discontinued now. So the SAT 1 on its own wouldn't be enough. That's because APs and SAT subjects are equivalent to 1 A-level each. So you do need that level, otherwise you'll have to do a foundation.
Thank you. And I'm keep checking the questions. And one more question. Is there any exceptions for students from Turkey that doesn't satisfy the entry requirements for postgraduate courses?
Yeah, so if you don't satisfy the entry requirements, we won't make you a direct offer. What we'll do is we'll offer you a place on what we call either a foundation for undergraduate or a pre-masters for a master's course. And a pre-masters is a foundation version leading on to the master's programs. So we'll offer those. The only difficulty is that of course adds an additional year of tuition fees for the foundation program and also living costs and visa costs, that type of thing. So it's not ideal that you would have to do that. The best way would be trying to get that direct offer. But for postgraduate students, we are a little bit more flexible. So if you've got some great work experience, let's say you did your bachelor's degree 2 years ago, and 2 years ago, you know, you weren't as focused as you are now. Maybe you didn't do quite as well in your grades as you would do now if you took them. But since then, you've got some great work experience that you can write about that is a perfect fit for the course. And it shows that you've come a long way from those grades. In that case, we may still make you an offer. You've just got to write well in your personal statement and provide us with a good CV upon applying.
Thank you very much. And what's the average of GPA do we have to earn in order to apply?
Sure. So if you're applying postgraduate, I believe is referring to, if he's talking about a GPA. But postgraduate applications, we will accept ideally 3 out of 4. But if you've got a bit less, maybe a score of 2.7 out of 4, we would still consider you.
Thank you very much. And
You're welcome. I've just seen a thank you in there, Rohan.
I think we covered all the questions. And
Sure.
if you are okay, you can share your email address as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to share a couple of things in here then, Imran. I'm going to share my email address first of all. So if you're interested in finding out more, you can contact me here. And I'm also sharing my booked in page, so you can book a meeting with me if you want to as well. That's if you want to book a meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
One more question, I think the last one. All the scholarship options are letter-based, or do GPA or another factors affect this?
Yeah, it's both. It's a combination of the grades that you're applying with. They will get an automatic score generated, and also the answers that you provide on the application form will earn you extra points on top of that. So both the GPA and your answers are important.
Okay, thank you very much once again. And we hope to see you in Turkey soon.
Absolutely, I hope to see you in Turkey too. All right, well, thank you everybody ever so much. Take care and have a nice evening.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.